Let's return now to our top story about the 32-year-old man who did a run last night from managed isolation at Auckland's Stamford Plaza. He was supposed to be on a smoke break when he escaped through a fence. He eventually turned back up at the hotel and subsequently tested positive for Covid-19. Joining us now is the Minister in charge of managed isolation and quarantine, Megan Woods. Minister, this must make you want to scream, does it?
Look, it is hugely disappointing. We are asking those people that are coming home to make the necessary sacrifices to keep their fellow New Zealanders safe. This was an incredibly selfish act, that we all followed the rules and locked ourselves down for 5 weeks to get into this position that we're in now. We all made a sacrifice and we're asking those coming home to do the same. This man broke the law.
Understand that you can't, it's not a prison and you can't control every moment of these people's lives, but he escaped through a fence while he was on a smoke break at the Stamford, right? So the security guard saw this person but didn't stop him. Was that because they didn't have the power to stop him, or they didn't realise that he was someone in isolation?
So the reports that I've received is actually that there was some confusion created because actually we were changing out the fences at the Stamford, putting in higher fences to further secure areas after, we've had some incidents at other facilities that have been publicised in the last few days, so upping the security around these hotels. So there was some contractors in that were swapping out those fences. There were people around, and that he used the opportunity of there being people around and a gap in the fence to slip through.
If in doubt, though, shouldn't the security guard just simply have asked him when he was wandering off, hey, are you supposed to be in isolation? Is there a lack of experience with some of the people that you've got on the ground at these hotels?
So, look, AVSEC were alerted and followed up very quickly, went to check that he was there. So there was, and then tried to pursue him, but he was too far ahead to get him. So I think what we're seeing is that there was a quick response. People realised within minutes.
Not fast enough, though,
gone.
Minister. Not fast enough, though, because he's gone for a while. So
agree.
Can you just clarify, the security guards there, do they have the legal right to stop someone leaving isolation? Can they physically stop them?
No, they're not police. They can't arrest and detain. They can do the things that you see security guards at a range of places that do. You see them at sports events, you see them at bars.
Yep. So does that mean you need police? Do you need police or someone who does have that power to be on guard, not these security guards?
And look, we've been working through that this afternoon about what we need to do. I have to say that things have changed even in the last week and a half in terms of the range of incidents that we're seeing in terms of non-compliance. The beginning, we had a very compliant population who came in who absolutely understood their responsibilities to their fellow New Zealanders. And we didn't have people attempting to climb fences or slip through gaps when they saw an opportunity. But we are continuing to look at that. Air Commodore Webb and I have been in discussions
What do you think? What do you think's changed, Minister? Sorry to interrupt. So if they are going rogue and they're acting out, what's changed? Why aren't they feeling like they are obligated to do this for the team?
Well, I mean, I don't have insight into each and every individual in those facilities. One thing I would observe is they're probably looking out their windows and they're seeing a level 1 world operating, and they're living in level 4, which is quite different.
So do you need to get them out of the city? You need to get them out of the city then, do you?
Look, in an ideal world you would, but the other thing that you've got to be close to is to make sure that you're close to the medical personnel that you need in order to staff it, the testing facilities, the ability to do that quickly. This is complex. Believe me, if we could put them out in the back of the never, where there aren't other people around, and we could do that safely and fulfil the health criteria that we have to have for our facilities, it would certainly make our lives a lot easier. But it is the complex layer of requirements that we need around these facilities that inevitably is leading to these big hotels, and they tend to be in CBDs.
OK, I know this would be unfortunate for the people who are complying with the rules, but why not just give them all nicotine patches and say, sorry, you can't go outside to smoke, that's it. People are not behaving, so stay inside.
And look, the smoking policy is being reviewed.
So what does that mean? You are going to stop them from going outside for smoke breaks?
Look, the team's having a look at the smoking policy and what that might be. Air Commodore Webb today talked about times that the areas might not be available for people to use and things like that. But look, we're going to have more to say on that tomorrow, that we're doing a rapid review of those policies.
Do you need to, and this sounds slightly strange, but do you need to tag them in some way? I know you can't put electronic bracelets on everybody, but should they have to wear an identifying band so that people guarding or standing on security know exactly who the isolation people are?
And look, these are all things that we're looking at, what technology might be able to be used inside the facilities. We've actually had that piece of work underway for, feels like an age, but it's probably only about a week and a half. Had that piece work underway to see, we've funded quite a lot of
So you're not rolling that
technology.
out? Some kind of tagging?
Well, I mean, the ways in which, apps on their phones or other ways in which you can trace people's movements. We're looking at a range of options to make sure that we are providing the strongest line of defence to defend New Zealanders. We're asking people who are in there to do their bit, to take their responsibility.
Understand that, but some of them aren't they? So this guy was wobbling around for 70 minutes. How long was he in the supermarket?
So it seems to be, the timeline that I have been given is that he exited the Stamford at 6:50 and he arrived at the Countdown in Victoria West at 7:02 and left there at 7:22. What has been happening this afternoon is a range of CCTV footage has been used from around the area to track his movements, as well as, of course, he's been questioned by police.
Okay, so what do you know? What do you know from the information given to you where he spent the rest of the time?
I don't have that information yet. That is information that has been gathered this afternoon through both questioning of the individual.
We're almost 24 hours on, though, Minister, and this is critical information, isn't it? Who's he been talking to? Who's he been standing next to? Who's he been breathing on?
And all that work has been carried out, Lisa, and I want to give people that assurance. That the CCTV footage that the team has been working with Countdown just to track his movements through the supermarket. We know that he used a self-service lane when he was at the supermarket, and just ascertaining what kind of contact tracing needs to be undertaken as a result of him being in the supermarket.
But that's only 34 minutes of his time, isn't it? It's only 34 minutes of his time, Minister. He's gone for an hour and 10. The missing gap. You must have some clues at this stage.
No, what I'm saying is that work has been carried out through questioning of him and CCTV footage. That has not been reported to me at this stage. It will be when that piece of work is complete. But please be assured that is work that has been carried out at pace. It simply hasn't been reported up to the Minister yet, because it's much more important that operationally we're gathering all that intelligence so we can get on with contact tracing that needs to occur because of it.
Okay.
I will receive a report on that, I would say later tonight or tomorrow morning.
So this goes to court, right? He's going to be charged. What about instant fines? Is it time for you to step up the punishment here, like in Australia? 10 grand instant fine. That would make some people sit up and pay attention.
So we do have a fining system within our Act as well. So there is 6 months imprisonment or a $4,000 fine. So there is a range of measures that can be taken.
How many of those fines have been issued?
I don't know that any have to date.
Isn't that the point?
To decide. That is a police matter about whether or not someone is charged, and is a question that needs to be put to them. Certainly it is my expectation that people that are breaking the law and putting New Zealanders at risk are dealt with appropriately. There are consequences that are in the law, and I'd like to see them applied.
So you're replacing fences at all facilities to make them, 6 foot? So who pays for that and how much is it costing?
I've asked how much it's going to cost. I'm going to be receiving those figures. Obviously, there's a cost to it. And this is a cost that the taxpayers are picking up. We were once in a scenario where we didn't have to put 6-foot fences around, that people understood their obligations, and they weren't scale fences or slip between cracks in fences to escape. This does come at a cost, but fundamentally, our responsibility as a government is to make sure that our managed isolation facilities are that strong line of defence that have kept us without community transmission.
We're out of time, Minister. Can I get a quick answer? Queenstown, is it still a contender for isolation?
We're still considering it. We have to see whether or not we've got the ability to have the health workforce that is required there. I'll be visiting there next week.
Understand that. Thank you so much for joining us. That is the Minister who's responsible for managed isolation and quarantine, Megan Woods.